man, Uguche, and it's always a pleasure to have you join us, right? This is where we're going to tell you all things trending and all things topical. And today I have a very special guest who is going to be joining us to analyze the state of the nation as well as what's going on in the PDP. Because he is the PDP chieftain, it's none other than Funso Doherty. He is the Lagos State PDP gubernatorial aspirant. He's going to be joining us in a short while. But this is to let the viewer know that I'm not flying this plane solo. I got my co-anchor here. Hello, sir.
Good evening, Vivian.
Yeah.
Good evening to our viewers. I'm Ikechuku Aguago. I just can't wait to get to see Mr. Doherty. We'll get to hear from him, and let's get to...
Yeah, because it would be nice to hear from the horses.
Absolutely.
The horse's mouth, right? Because we saw so much drama yesterday. It was all about Wadata Plaza.
Absolutely.
Wadata Plaza, by the way, is the headquarters of the PDP in Abuja, which at the moment is under lock and key. I understand that my guest has joined us. Mr. Doherty, you are a very gracious man, and I have to say it's a pleasure meeting you for the very first time. Thanks for coming aboard.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me. I hope you can hear me clearly.
Loud and clear, and I can see you as well. Thank you so much. So I'm going to take you straight to X. There's a comment you made yesterday. You put up a post on X, right? I'm putting you on the hot seat right now. And you were saying that the fight, what's happening in the PDP right now, is not just a battle for the soul of the party, that it's a larger battle, that it is a fight for democracy. Right, so I'm just going to take you to X now. So we'll take a look at the post you put up. I'm also going to be pulling up comments, right, what people said in response to what you had said yesterday. Shall we do this? All right, let's go.
That's fine.
All right. Funso Doherty says, what our newly elected leadership bravely confronted at our party secretariat today, and this was yesterday, by the way, is a disturbing escalation of a familiar pattern. This is not just about PDP. It is an existential assault on multi-party democracy that we and other well-meaning Nigerians will vigorously resist. I'll have you expatiate on this a little bit before I take you to the comment session or section, if you will, Mr. Doherty. So you're saying that if there is no opposition, a democracy is no democracy at all. Would you please expatiate on that?
Well, I think it is, self-evident in some ways, because the whole notion of democracy is that you have, people have a choice, right? And that they have the right to make a choice and to choose their leaders. And the majority will have their way, and the minority will have their say. But implicit in that is the idea that, there must be if there's an incumbent, there must be, multi-party democracy and a vibrant opposition. It's also the case that you don't expect that the incumbent will be overly aggressive in its use of state machinery or influence to essentially destabilize opposition, because those are anti-democratic behaviors. And so, when I say that this battle is a larger battle for democracy, it basically reflects the fact that, a lot of what we see playing out in PDP today is or arises from the actions of individuals who have loyalties and conflicts of interest and are loyal, to interests outside the party, the most significant of which is the ruling party, and by extension also the FCT minister who's serving in the ruling government.
In fact, yeah,
So
what you
these are
just
just principles of what I've said.
beautiful. What you've just done is to call a spade a spade. And my co-anchor here was laughing when you talked about the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike. Igechukwu, would you like to, let us into your mind? Why were you laughing?
Yes, I was actually expecting him to actually mention, the FCT minister,
Yeah.
like he rightly mentioned. But I just have a
Who
question.
is a PDP member,
Yes.
but is working for the APC?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Doherty,
Who was a PDP member?
Oh,
Yes, I stand corrected. He was expelled not too long ago alongside his friend, Ayo Fayose, former governor of Ekiti State. So you're correct.
Yeah.
So
okay. So my question is this, right? Why did it take this so long?
Yeah.
Because after the election, I'm talking about the 2023 election, he actually got the support of, will I say the People's Democratic Party to actually be part of the, the APC government. And a lot of Nigerians were like, this is unprecedented in our political history. So why did it take so long for the PDP to finally, excommunicate him now?
I won't speak entirely for the party leadership. We'll say a couple of things.
Okay.
One is that political parties, by their nature, are inclusive organizations. They are not, military organizations. They are not, they're not like dictatorial organizations. They are organizations that, by virtue of what they are, they seek to be inclusive, to be accommodative, and so on. So you will find that, generally, they tend to give people a long rope as a general principle. Now, would it have been done earlier? Maybe. But, delay not. And, the fact that you have not done something does not mean, you cannot do it when it is needed to be done, right? So the best time to have done something may be yesterday, but if you didn't do it yesterday, you have today to do it. So you do it. And really, that's how I would respond to that.
very well said, Mr. Doherty. Let me take you back to X now so you see how netizens are responding to the post you put up yesterday. If you know X, it is a savage space. But it looked like they took your post very well, right? Lots of netizens kind of supported what you were saying. So this is it. Bumi says, now responding to you, Bumi said, this is quite disturbing. We don't want a democracy present on paper, but absent in practice. Benue George says it was really a PDP affair. PDP should fix their party. I am sure Obi and Atiku will be somewhere laughing. Agaba says, all of you are in the right track for the very first time since the last general election. So these are all positive comments, right? I think they are saying, hey, PDP, go, we are with you. So there's something else you said, right, that the PDP remains the main opposition party to the APC. Even though some people will say that's debatable. But for real, do you think that your party really remains the main opposition party to the APC?
You know what? I am very convinced of this. And I think most people, if they look at it dispassionately, and take away the, what I would call the optics of the contrived crisis, right? Will understand that, in fact, what exists in the PDP is not something that is easily recreated, right? And it's not speculative. It's not a party information. It's a party that exists, has a structure across the nation in 774 local governments or whatever the number is now, and wards in all of those local governments, a name that is known across this entire federation, which is not a mean feat to accomplish, governors on the slate. You may argue that they are fewer now than they were when we started, but even the ones that have left, the people voted for the PDP before they left. And so there's even no guarantee that the people that they are thinking will go with them. So that remains to be seen. National Assembly, PDP is the largest group you will find. So these are objective facts, right? And, if there are, other, entities, information, or being, coalesced or whatever, those are prospective, right? And remains to be seen how those will play out. But PDP exists and is on ground today. I will just say in conclusion to this point that, look, when you see all of these types of actions that are bent on bringing the PDP to its knees, it just tells you that's also an indication of where the incumbent sees the threat, right? Because, as I said, on another show yesterday, that if you have three enemies that are confronting you, right, your attention will be focused on the one that you think has the potential to take you down, right? You will not leave that one and be dealing with the others that you believe are less of a threat, right? And this is exactly what is happening with the PDP, and that's why you can see that in the face of absurdities, right, like a small fringe group, claiming to have reconstituted the BOT, reconstituted the NEC, without any sort of elective process or convention process or what have you. You can see that it's just an attempt to create the impression of factionalization, the impression of division, not with any end game in mind, other than to create a situation that portends or reflects crisis, because they know that once they do that, then they can continue to point to the fact that the party is experiencing crisis and so on and so forth. But we're not. We have one BOT, we have one NEC, we have one NWC, and we have some people who are sitting on one side masquerading, and we've taken the decisions that we need to take in convention. I was in that convention. I was a part of that decision. And, we're moving ahead. And whatever we need to do to conclude or conclusively play out the positive direction in which we're headed now, including, concluding any court processes or whatever, we will do them. We are resolute. And I can tell you that when 2027 comes around, APC will be here, PDP will be here, and we will go head to head in the 2027 elections, and the people will choose.
Wow. What I hear you say is that the APC is jittery because the PDP will give the APC a run for its money in 2027. But you also said something that you also said that the PDP has one BOT and one NEC. I'm going to take you up on that in a short while after I play a video for you. Yeah, but I want us to circle back to what you said earlier on about, the fight in the PDP being a larger battle for democracy in Nigeria. I want to take you back to what transpired yesterday at Wadata Plaza in Abuja, where your party's chairman was calling on US President Donald Trump to come save Nigeria's democracy. He said it wasn't just about ending the killings and all, it was about saving democracy as well, even though the APC has come out to say that it is absolutely unnecessary for the PDP to have done that. But hey, I want to take you back to what transpired yesterday. Let's take a look at that video and take a listen to what your chairman was saying, and let's see if the PDP or the APC was right on its money. Let's do it. It is hashtag.
What is at stake is not just genocide against Nigerian Christians. You should come and save democracy in Nigeria. Democracy is under threat. I'm calling on all other developed nations, all advanced democracies, come and save Nigeria, come and save democracy. Because I cannot understand how a serving minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria will be leading talks, armed talks, and then with the active connivance or support of the police to come and create mayhem here. I have said it, we are willing to lay down our lives to protect our office, to protect our democracy, to protect our mandate. So Nigerians, you are watching what is happening. International community, you are seeing the threat that Nigerian democracy is. Come and save us. Come and save us.
That is your chairman, Mr. Turaki, calling on the U.S. President Donald Trump to come save Nigeria's democracy. Now, standing behind him was also Seyi Makinde, governor of Oyo State, as well as his Bauchi State counterpart, right? Are these your sentiments exactly, all those things he said? Do you think Nigeria needs Donald Trump to come save its democracy, really?
I'd like to, distinguish between, official party positions and statements that are made, in difficult circumstances. Realize that the chairman was speaking under severe pressure, and they were in a place where they were under attack, and he made the comments that he made. And you have to have that discussion with him as to his feelings when he made that statement. What I would say is that when you rob people of the right to of all opportunities to advance their cause, then you will see things that you should not ordinarily see. Remember that this just a few days ago when the whole Trump thing came out, many Nigerians actually took this same position that we need external help and that they should help us. And ordinarily, if everything were okay, people would not be taking that position. But when people feel that they have no other option, that all the doors are closed, that power is totally consolidated in one place, and that place where the power is consolidated is not sensitive or open, to the aspirations, fears, and of others, then you begin to see people use whatever tools at their disposal to address their situation. So this is the way I would approach it. I mean, if you ask me personally as Funso Doherty, I believe our solutions lie with us, and I think that whatever actions need to be taken, can be catalyzed if Nigerians rise to the challenge and act collectively. But I also understand the sentiment that will be driving people, to make statements like that, particularly when they are in dire circumstances or when they are under pressure or under assault.
Very well said, Mr. Doherty. You're talking about dire circumstances. I mean, your chairman was really under dire straits yesterday, right? I mean, there was a meeting going on and the police fired tear gas, right inside an enclosed building. That must have been terrifying. So I understand what you're saying. But there's something else that played out yesterday, right? The former governor of Benue State, Samuel Otom, was walked out of a meeting. Now, I told you I was going to take you up on what you said earlier on, that the PDP has one BOT, one neck. Now, I need you to listen to what somebody said towards the end of that video I'm going to be playing for you. Someone said, and allegedly, I've heard people say it was the Bauchi State governor who said, this is not your PDP. So what does that mean? Do we have different PDPs or something? So let me take you back to that particular incident. Take a listen. We'll be right back.
Yeah, now former governor Otom. Slides, this is not your PDP. Chairman, get him out. So, show you the see, these are the supporters of the.
So if that doesn't send chills down your spine, I don't know what will be. Because I'm thinking if I'm in the shoes of former Governor Samuel Otom, gosh, he probably will be wanting the grounds to open up and swallow him. But hey, like I was saying, someone had said that this is not your PDP. Now, if you say that the PDP has one BOT and one neck, what does that mean?
Well, you know, you have to ask. First of all, I don't know who said it. And that's
okay, that's a good answer. Yeah.
But you know, you have to ask the person what they meant. So, for example, they might mean, you know, you are not the owner of this party. You understand? This is not your PDP. I don't know what they meant by that statement, but you know, it's just one of these things that. See, you know, the fact that there are some people who gather themselves together and say, you know, we are this or we are that. Doesn't matter. Look, if you are, let's take an example. This is politics now, so you know, it's like everything, everything is okay in politics. But let's use a slightly different analogy, right? So, if you are First Bank. Sorry to use First Bank.
Because that's an advert.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry.
It's fine.
Sorry, any bank, right? I have no connection to First Bank, by the way, so any bank, right?
It's fine. It's okay.
So look, if some people now just get up and decide, you know, 2 or 3 managers decide to get up and, you know, go to a room somewhere and say, I'm now the managing director and these 5 people are now the board of this organization. It doesn't make them the board. It doesn't mean that the board of the bank is divided, right? They can claim it, right? Now, you know, if the people who are reporting media now starts calling it a faction, right? Then what will be taken out there is that it's a faction. But the reality of it is that it's not a faction. It's just some people who have gathered themselves together to move in a different direction and to be making a case and to get, you know, a propaganda. Because remember where they are going. Where they are going is not to accomplish anything particularly for the party. Where they are going, the end game for them is crisis. Do you understand? So if you meet them, even if you meet them at their demands, they will move to some other place and create other demands. You go and meet them there, they will move to another place and create other demands because their end game is crisis. Remember I mentioned conflict of interest. Now, you know, take the FCT minister, because, you know, sometimes we obfuscate things, we don't want to say things the way they are and all of that. But you take the FCT minister. This is somebody with a classic conflict of interest. So you are sitting in the administration. You have said with your own mouth that, you know, you are working for the success of that administration. You are working for the re-election of that, the head of that government and so on. Yet you want to sit in PDP, right? And claim to have also have PDP's interest at heart in all these things that you are doing within PDP. Is that possible? How is it possible? Because the interest of PDP is to bring down the government in which you are serving, right? And replace it. So you cannot both at the same time want to entrench the government that you are serving and also at the same time want to bring it down. It's just not possible. It is not possible. So if it smells like a dog, if it looks like a dog, if it sounds like a dog, chances are it's a dog. And that is the conclusion. Yeah. That's the conclusion that we reached. And we said this is not tenable. And as a convention, which is the highest decision-making body of the party, we made that decision that these people must go. Remember that the convention is the highest. Even the NEC cannot do anything about what we have done at convention. The BOT cannot do anything about what we've done at convention. Unless another convention is called, nothing can happen to that thing we did at convention.
All right. Let me come in here. Before my colleague Ikechukwu comes in, you said something. You mentioned the word faction, right? And it got my thoughts running. You do remember that shortly after, at the convention, drastic steps were taken. Shortly after former governor of Rivers State, who is now the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, shortly after he was expelled alongside Ayo Fayoshe and a number of others, Samuel Anyanwu and a number of others, there was a counter post or a counter suit or a counter statement, really, that another faction of the PDP had expelled the PDP chairman, Kabiru Turaki, as well as Sheyi Makinde, the governor of Oyo State, and a lot of others. But I think you have explained that away, because you said the position that the PDP took at the convention is the icing on the cake, and nothing trumps it. So I don't know if you have more on this before we move on to the next level of this particular hashtag.
I think you've done justice.
Okay, go ahead.
No, please go ahead, sir.
No, I was just going to say that, I don't expect, I'm not surprised that they will continue to, make those kinds of statements, because like I said, you have to understand what their end game is. Their end game is is confusion. Their end game is crisis, to ensure that, there's an atmosphere of crisis surrounding what we're doing. So as long as, that persists, they are happy.
So before the Ibadan Convention was held, there was actually an order from the Federal High Court. Of course, the Ibadan Convention actually got their own approval from the Ibadan State High Court to actually go ahead. And of course, in Abuja, there's also, the Abuja High Court also did the same thing, saying that convention should not be held. And there's this back and forth. So what exactly is the plan of the PDP? Because this seems to be like a legal battle awaiting to happen. After this has been done, what exactly is the plan of the PDP to actually come out of this, this sort of legal quagmire?
Yeah, so, that question is best answered by, the lawyers, right? And I'm sure the party has wonderful legal advice. And I don't pretend, I know enough law to be dangerous. But, what I would say is that, look, if we did not feel that we had a good basis for holding the convention, we would not have gone ahead. Essentially, what you had was courts of coordinate jurisdiction and coordinate seniority issuing judgments that were conflicting with one another. So if you obey one, you will disobey the other. If you disobey one, do you see what I mean? That was the situation that we had on ground, even though the final order that came out was an order to go ahead. But we also draw attention to the Supreme Court's position on issues relating to internal party matters. And this is my understanding of the position as advanced by our legal people. And that I believe the view in the first place is that the first judgment, which is the Justice Omotosho judgment, flies in the face of that pre-existing Supreme Court position. But as you rightly observed, these are legal matters, sometimes intricate. But whatever legal processes, like I said earlier in this conversation, whatever legal processes will need to be pursued will be pursued. I mean, we are not a party that is, that does not believe in rule of law. We are a party that fully believes in the rule of law, and we will pursue whatever legal processes. But we will also not be bullied, and we will also not be cheated, and we will also not abdicate the role which history has placed upon us at this point in time. And I can tell you that there are a lot of people whose hopes are riding on, the work that we are doing in opposition, and we will not let them down. So where we see the system is being used against us, we will also use the system against those people who are using it against us.
That's a very good.
The way you deal with bullies is to stand up to bullies. You don't go and hide in your corner.
That's a very good answer, sir. If I must say so myself, you have a way of wriggling out of tight spots. That was a tricky question, you could put up there. Thank you. You did well.
I don't know.
Right. So, Nifemi Oguntoye.
When you speak your mind is easy.
Woo! True. I should write that down and laminate it. Just put it on my door post or something. But you see, a fellow journalist, Nifemi Oguntoye, put up a post on X saying that the PDP. The Wadata Plaza, the PDP headquarters, is under lock and key right now. So I'm going to take you to X. So you take a look at the post he put up and also the video which he put up, right? We are still doing this particular one, hashtag main opposition. Nifemi Oguntoye says, police seals of Wadata Plaza, the PDP National Secretariat, amid escalating leadership crisis. Of course, the credit goes to TVC News NG. Take a look, guys. So it looks like the saga continues, like they will say in Nollywood, right? But I want you to take a look, take a listen to how netizens are reacting to this particular one. Netizens are not happy at all. Netizens being Nigerians who talk on X, right? So I take you now to the reactions. Eze Magic says, what right does the police have to barricade Wadata Plaza? And then Oge says, shame on Nigerian police. It was the police that fought each other on behalf of the politicians. The same police are coming to seal the building. Then we have Bisong Dave, who says this is exactly what Wike and Tinubu wants, the same thing they did in Rivers State. And then His Excellency Maximiliano says they should go seal off Sambisa Forest. That's where there's a lot of problems. Right? How would you respond to what netizens are saying? Because you see, we saw a video yesterday of policemen fighting each other because they were in, different camps of, different politicians and all. Doesn't this leave an unpleasant taste in your mouth, really?
No, it does, and it does in the mouth of any well-meaning Nigerian. And it confirms what I have always said, that, Nigerians don't want a one-party state. They just don't want it. Nigerians do not like a situation where, they have no choice or what have you. And that's what you see people responding to. And I'm sure the people who wrote those comments, I'm not sure that many of them necessarily might be PDP members, right? These are people who just, they feel very uncomfortable with what this means and what signal it sends. And because, you see, if you ask most people, you can see what people are writing. And if you go to comments and threads on comments across the social media, you will see that it's reflective of this, that everybody understands that this is the voice of Esau and the hand of Jacob, as they say. And everybody sees the FCT's ministers, footprints all over. And in fact, he was at Wadata Plaza yesterday, from what we understand. I wasn't there, but from the images and videos that we saw, his vehicle was there, and he was supposedly inside the vehicle. So people see it, and you can propound all the legal theories in this world. Bring all the administrative, shenanigans you might want to bring. But the basic fact is the basic fact. You are heading one group that is fighting these people. You claim that you are with them in their house, but you are sitting in the house of another person to whom you have also sworn allegiance. And these two are are enemies. Do you understand? So, I mean, basic common sense. Nigerians understand this in their interactions, in their relationships, that this is, and then you are now using, and then you now see that the house is sealed, and they now seal up the house. What conclusion will you draw? You know, in Yoruba they say, you know, ajekeloru, omokelaro, omokularo, rather.
What does that mean?
You know, that is the witch cried last night, and the child died this morning. Who does not know that it is the witch that cried last night that killed the child that died this morning?
Yeah, that's a good one.
That, you know,
that's a good one.
So I mean, people just understand it, you know, so, and that's what they are responding to. That's what. So it doesn't matter how many press conferences the FCT minister calls, and he may speak from today till tomorrow. The fact remains the fact. The view that people have will remain the view that people have, because it just smells fishy.
Yeah, it does. Before we wrap this up now, Ikechu, I think you have something to say, Ikechu. But before you say your piece, I was asking, because you said earlier on that you're going to fight this thing, right, to a logical conclusion. Now that Wadata Plaza is sealed, why are you going to be having your meetings? So what's going to be the counter move now? I'm talking about the leadership of your party. I know this is putting you on the spot. You might not know, but do you think they're going to probably move to another location?
I don't know, but, you know, what I can tell you is that this is a group of very resolute people, very experienced, very courageous, and very determined that, you know, the cause that they are pushing is a right cause, is an important cause, is a cause for which, you know, perhaps millions and millions of people, you know, have rested their hopes. So there's actually a strong sense of responsibility. And if you look at the demeanor of the individuals yesterday, the chairman of the party, the governors, His Excellency Sheyi Makinde and His Excellency Bala Mohammed, you will see that, you know, the gravity of the situation is not lost on them, and the significance of the role that, you know, history has thrust upon them is not lost upon them. So I think that, you know, let's just stay tuned, because this is going to be taken to its resolution. In other
words, tighten your seatbelts, guys. That's what Mr. Doherty just said. I think it's a safe place for us to, you know, wrap up that particular hashtag main opposition. We move on to the next one, which is hashtag President Bola Tinubu. So he put up a post today. But before I talk about the post, though, the president was supposed to have jetted out of the country to attend the G20 summit. But at the last minute, he made a U-turn and cancelled that trip, right? Before he cancelled the trip, Ikechukwu, I was thinking Peter Obi, you know, one of the very vocal persons, you know, on X, as well as Bolaji Abdullahi, the publicity secretary of the ADC. I was thinking these guys will probably be putting pen to paper to come up with some savage post. But all of a sudden, the presidency cancelled that trip. And then the president now sent an emissary talking about Vice President Kashim Shettima to KB State, you know, to commiserate with families of the girls who were abducted, and also to commiserate with the family of the vice principal who was shot dead, right, when bandits invaded the school and carried out this heinous crime. I still have a problem with the name bandits. I don't know if you can talk to this a little bit. Before we come to that, Mr. Doherty, this thing about the nomenclature, is this banditry or terrorism? That and the fact that President Tinubu sent his, you know, his deputy to go to KB after cancelling his trip. If you were in his shoes, would you have gone, or would you have sent your VP, really?
So, okay, starting with, is this banditry or is this terrorism? I don't know. You know, these are labels, right? So there's you can sort of, in practical terms, look at what is going on, and what's the difference between that and terrorism? There's no difference, right? There's no difference between what's going on and terrorism. So, so in that way, you say is that now banditry. What is banditry? People are being bandits. They're stealing things and so on and so forth. I mean, it seems like a stepped down version of what this is, right? What you call it banditry. So maybe we are de-escalating by calling it banditry. But I don't see anything about this that does not qualify, in my sort of layman's judgment, as terrorism. Now, with respect to whether the visit to the
to Kebbi State,
Kebbi State school, I mean, you can argue it one way or the other. Part of it is that the president has had a style of interacting on these matters, right? He has not been, he has not essentially been one who has done a lot of this going to the spot to commiserate when things happen and so on and so forth. So it's not out of character for him, right, to take this action that he has taken. And I don't want to sit down here and say in this particular instance I would have or whatever, because again I'm in opposition. So you say, okay, But I think that the most important thing is that is just to let us just get it right and stop it, right? That's just what we have to figure out.
Yeah.
And the concern that I have is that, if you think about the degree of attention and capacity and leadership bandwidth that is allocated to this matter and these security matters, and compare it, in my judgment, to the leadership bandwidth that is allocated to other matters that are of, commercial, of a commercial nature, or of an economic nature, or even of a propaganda nature, or like a marketing nature, trying to present the government in a light and all of that stuff. If I think about how much energy is allocated to those kinds of things and compare it to how much energy is allocated to this fundamental matter, it then may not be so surprising that we have not made as much inroads as we ought to have made, on this matter. And it's just my hope that that we remedy that situation, because again, when you don't do what you ought to do at the time you ought to do it of your own volition, then other actions by other parties may be forced on you in a way and at a time that is not of your own choosing, and that could be detrimental and have long-standing consequences. So we really need to get our acts in order on this matter.
Very well said. Now I take you to X now, so he's taking a look at the post that President Tinubu put up and how netizens are responding to that particular one. Hashtag President Tinubu, that's where we're at the moment. Bola Ahmed Tinubu says, I am heartbroken by the abduction of our daughters in Kebbi and the painful loss of Brigadier General Musa Uba and the brave soldiers who fell in Bruno. Their families and the families of the kidnapped schoolgirls are in my prayers. As the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, I am depressed with the tragic death of our soldiers and officers on active duty. May God comfort the families of Brigadier General Musa Uba and other fallen heroes. I am also depressed that heartless terrorists have disrupted the education of innocent schoolgirls. I have directed the security agencies to act swiftly and bring the girls back to Kebbi State. I am fully apprised of the recent uptick in violent extremism in pockets across the country, and I have directed our security agencies to respond with urgency, clarity, and decisive action. Our forces need the full cooperation of every community. Sharing information can save lives and protect our children. And then he says, may God comfort the bereaved families. Now, let's take a look at the reactions now. So, Duke of Uri says, Mr. President, sir, your message sounds compassionate, but Nigerians remember clearly how you spoke and acted when similar tragedies happened under President Jonathan. Back then, every attack, every abduction, every death was used as political capital. You led marches, held press conferences, and accused the government of failure at every turn. Yet today, with even worse insecurity, schoolgirls kidnapped, generals killed, communities terrorized, all we hear are routine condolences and recycled directives that lead nowhere. Leadership is not proven by statements of sympathy, but by results. For lack of time, I'll move on to the other response to this particular hashtag. Now, let's take a look at the next one. Wale says, Dear President Tinubu, I am one of your loyal supporters, and I believe it is time to take decisive action against bandits in the northern region of Nigeria. It's important to prioritize the safety of Nigerians over concerns about political repercussions. This circles back to the debate that governance is suffering at the expense of, what's it called now, politicking. Politics. Yeah. Let's move on to the next one now, which is what something I need for you to take a listen to, Mr. Doherty. So Sumter says you declared a state of emergency in Rivers over a dispute between a sitting governor and the ex-governor. But you can't channel the same energy to insecurity. No wahala. God is watching. So there's a hashtag trending online now, Mr. Doherty. Because of time, we wouldn't go into that. It is hashtag state of emergency. Netizens are saying when something that wasn't as weighty as what's happening right now in the nation happened in Rivers, a state of emergency was declared. Why not now? Under 30 seconds, can you respond to that before we wrap up, sir?
Well, I mean, I am as baffled as other people are. And although we said at the time that the declaration of the state of emergency, we couldn't understand it in the first place. And less so, the removal of governors, even if you had to declare a state of emergency. So we knew that one had to be driven by, other interests. But I think the question that is very valid. And it just comes back to this. And by the way, to your point about, President Tinubu's reactions under previous governments, on this insecurity matter. Well, that's what goes around comes around. So if you live by the sword, you will die by the sword. So I think, he is also not he's an adult, and he knows that people will take him to task for this. So
yes. Absolutely. What goes around comes around. Definitely. Before we let you go, what are your plans for 2027, sir? Are you running for office?
100%. I
like that. That's a cool, straight, confident answer.
I was expecting him to say when the time comes, but I mean, this is very, very good. I mean, plain, simple.
On point. I like it. Yeah. So we'll keep our pulse on your political career, and we wish you all the best. You have been fantastic, sir, and thank you for coming aboard today.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
And hope when that time comes, when you're about to run, when we call you again, you'll definitely be here.
I'll come. Just call me.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. We have been speaking with Funso Doherty. He is the Lagos State PDP Gubernatorial aspirant. Fantastic conversation. But before we wrap up, it is hashtag Hafiz. There is no way I can do this without saying a very happy birthday to my colleague, Ikechuk's colleague, Hafiz, the troublemaker. He is actually a sports presenter and sports analyst. Ikechuku, it's his birthday today.
Yeah, happy birthday to Hafiz. And maybe after this show,
we'll pour him cold water.
No, he's going to take me out for 1 or 2.
Hafiz, happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you,
I hope you have a ball today. Guys, on that note, we wrap things up. Ikechuku, fantastic as usual.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So good to have you and to join you to do this with Mr. Doherty.
Absolutely. I've got to say thanks to Jide Benson, who was behind this whole thing. He was the man behind the scene. Thank you, sir. On that note, I say thanks to everyone who contributed to making the show a success. But the bigger thanks goes to you guys for watching. If you liked it, keep a date with Ikechukwu and I for another episode of Hashtags right here, same time, same station. Until then, I am Vivian Oguche, and bye for now.